Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chris Taylor, advocate for the devil, and I have a confession to make. Being an adult makes you busy. On the one hand, you've got to have a full-time job, and then there's taking care of your home, doing the dishes, making your own food, folding the laundry. If you're a student, on top of that, you have studying and assignments. And if you're a parent, well, that's just the beginning of your day. In society, we're told that we need to be constantly doing something. You can never stop. You need to keep going and keep moving forward and just keep moving.
If you ain't first, you're last.
If you stop, you're done. Finito, bye-bye, see you never. And that's what it takes to be a success in any walk of life. But here's the thing. Sometimes, not only is it a good thing, but it can actually be quite beneficial to do nothing. What? How can that be? If you need to always be doing something, then doing the exact polar opposite of that would have the exact polar opposite effect, no? Actually, no, it isn't. Being lazy is arguably the best part of anyone's day or week or, well, their entire life.
Filth and lies!
First, let's start with school. Everyone at one time or another has had a mountain of homework or a big project like a book report or class presentation. And let me preface this next statement by saying that I'm not talking about group projects here. In a group project, if one person is lazy and doesn't do the work, then the whole thing falls apart. Now, some would say that you need to spend every precious second of your time focused on that project, fine-tuning all the details to make every part fluid, to really sell whatever point you're trying to make, or just to present your topic in the best possible way. My stance on this is actually quite the opposite, and I can pull an example from my own life. Just close your eyes and imagine this.
In a world of pure imagination.
It's the end of 8th grade, and I had to do an oral presentation. I hadn't done very much that year, as was the case just about every year, because, surprise, I'm lazy. There was a list of topics that could have been chosen from, and one of them was the wonderful world of blank. Basically an open invitation for a creative person, such as myself. Now, every other time there was an oral, I would just sit it out and take the 0.
Words of wisdom. Drop that 0 and get with the hero.
Well, as you can guess, I didn't come up with anything previously. So I get a failing mark, and rightfully so. But this is the end of the year. I need to do something for it. Naturally, when things go that way, the best way to go about things is to stick with what you know. And I knew my family. I spent 5 minutes talking off the top of my head about my mother, father, brother, and our pet dog. And I did it on the spot. This worked out supremely well, since with no prep time and no other way to boost my marks for the year, I couldn't second guess myself. There was no safety net, and in the end, I produced arguably one of the best speaking performances of the class. The highest mark in my class for that particular piece of work was 85%. Only 3 kids got that mark, and I was one of them. I even got a round of applause just for standing up before I even started. Why? Because I hadn't done any of the orals before that. Because I was lazy. Next up, work. I think it's safe to assume that anybody watching this, either through their phones or their computers or tablets or however else you wonderful people watch things on the internet, has a job. You need to make money to pay for the device or the internet in the first place. And naturally, when you have a job, well, you have to do the work.
Look it up, it's a true fact, Wikipedia that.
Now, in an environment that necessitates doing things to get paid, how can being lazy even happen? Easily. Every job, no matter how stressful or fast-paced, has breaks. Whether it be your actual timed sit-down opportunities or even just slow days where there isn't much to do. Naturally, if you know what you're doing, you can and should find something to do, as keeping yourself occupied makes the time go by faster. Then again, there's one aspect of a job that most people seem to forget. Morale. The feeling that you aren't wasting your time in a soul-sucking environment designed to be legalized slave work.
If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
But if you just take 30 seconds, or even a full minute or two and talk, that's it. Just talk with your coworkers, get to know them a little bit, joke around, even make plans to hang out in your off hours. You feel so much better about spending more time with them than you do your actual family. Morale goes up, and studies have shown productivity does as well. You work harder when you feel like you're appreciated, even if it's just by your own teammates. Who would have thought that the better you feel, the better you work? All thanks to not working at all.
Sure you want to do this?
Oh yeah, this'll make me feel better.
And that brings us to another aspect of life that one would be safe in assuming you need to work at 100% of the time. Child raising. Warning, I am not talking about when the child is still able to fit in your hand, crying and drooling and sitting in its own feces. I'm talking about that wonderful sweet spot in between time, post-diaper, pre-beginning of this video in the educational system. The time when a child is at his most curious, most energetic, most naive, and most attentive. That's right, that kid is going to be looking at you as the prime example of everything that this world represents. And the problem is, most people are too busy to really do anything but stress and worry. That's going to be the lasting impression that that child has about how life is supposed to be. Running around, working, busting your ass in a place you hate, surrounded by fear and loathing. If you take a moment,
step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way.
Okay, not quite. Just take a moment to stop. Take that child, go read a book, walk in the forest, play in the park. Anything that shows that you can, in fact, slow down and have fun. Because let's face facts, as grown adults whose favorite childhood memory is probably not having to worry about fending for ourselves, enjoying the simple pleasures in life is what makes life worth it in the end. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, that requires being lazy. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I do hope I showed you some of the more positive sides to doing absolutely nothing. There's a phrase, stop and smell the roses, and in a life as busy as those of humans, that's what we need to do sometimes. Otherwise,
evolution has just passed you by.
Whether it's being lazy at school, waiting until the absolute last minute to finish a project, or even the simplicity of family bonding time, being lazy is the perfect opportunity to recharge. And in the end, it accomplishes more than just working and struggling 24/7 ever could. And being lazy at work? Well, to be honest, in my own life, I know this to be a fact. For the last 6 months, I haven't written a goram thing, and the episodes to come are going to be better than all those that came before. How do I know this? Because I'm so lazy, I haven't written them yet. Deadlines are in fact the wellspring to great creativity. Feel free to let me know in the comments section below what you think of being lazy. Or don't, whichever you prefer. But for now, in the case of laziness, the defense rests.